I feel helpless.
That sense of helplessness only grew as the water continued to surge down Pakistan's longest river, the Indus. The number of those affected by the flooding continued to grow. And as the CBC's Adrian Arsenault reported from the flood zone, so did the threat of political instability.
The monsoon rains aren't done with Pakistan yet. In the northwest, where flooding was supposed to be abating, menacing skies wreck the army's still urgent relief effort. In the bellies of idle military helicopters are enough supplies to feed hundreds of stranded people for a week, but there's no help coming today. Do you think that means they're in trouble?
They are in trouble. It's big trouble. They don't have anything to eat. They don't have anything to drink. So we are here, but we are unable to give them.
For 2 days now, these Pakistani and Afghan military helicopters that are loaded with relief have been sitting here grounded because of the driving rain. That means 2 more days that tens of thousands of people remain completely cut off from the most basic of help. In parts of the northwest, there is still some precarious road access. Neither government workers nor many aid agencies have made it through. Fala-e-Insanit has been here, though. A local charity with so many connections, it was able to get food aid and money out far and fast, and often on behalf of others. On the burst banks of the Kabul River, Rahim Khan, a teacher who saw the waters punch a hole in his home, say the government's weak response was a mistake.
The government they lost the chance of, support on the part of the people.
Fala-e-Insanit was eager to tell us they step in where the government fails. We're providing food and medical supplies, but there's also a long-term plan in which we're giving them money, said a spokesman. That phrase, long-term plan, scares the Pakistani government. It worries there are radical Islamist groups who will use the floods as an opportunity to recruit, spread a militant message, and weaken the government. And Fala-e-Insanit raises eyebrows here, often viewed as a rebranding of Jamaat-ud-Dawa, a banned organization linked to the militant group blamed for the Mumbai bombings. Jamaat-ud-Dawa's offices were closed last year, and these people insist theirs is not just the same old group with a new name. You're not a banned organization.
No.
But as we were leaving, the group spokesman passed me his card. It clearly links him to Jamaat-ud-Dawa. The connection is hardly hidden. On the ground, though, neither Rahim Khan or the others in line for help from Fala-e-Insanit gave the possible link a moment's thought.
And they did send their own, colleagues and their teams to help us in this hour of need.
He doesn't care about political motives, he says. He knows these people simply as the ones who showed up. Adrian Arsenault, CBC News, Nowshera in northwestern Pakistan.
As the scale of the humanitarian catastrophe continued to grow, another problem emerged. Despite the pressing need for emergency aid, many countries, including Canada, were slow to respond. And as the CBC's Briar Stewart reports, that had some Canadians wondering why.
At this family-run store, the disaster in Pakistan is a constant concern. Nadia Ahmed's father is there visiting relatives, and he's had to travel through the flood zone to reach them.
He said a lot of children were buried just within the ground, and they just drowned, and nobody knows.
Ahmed remembers how her neighborhood raised money after the tsunami in 2004. She says this disaster doesn't seem to be generating as urgent of a response.
I just think it's really sad. Perhaps there's a lack of awareness.
Pakistan appealed for aid 2 days ago. The Canadian government pledged $2 million, an amount many feel is too small. The Minister of International Cooperation says Canada's contribution may seem small, but there are expectations more will be coming. The government insists the relief effort must be controlled and points to previous disasters where aid sat for days waiting to be delivered. But many agencies working on the ground don't buy that argument.
It's almost 10 days now that this started, I find the excuse a little bit weak.
And the public has also been slow to respond. Agencies are concerned it could be due to fears that the money might end up in the hands of insurgents.
The floods is everywhere. It's the whole country, you know, from north to south. So the Taliban don't have a presence there, you know, and they are a small group.
A reality Ahmed hopes people understand.
This is sad when people bring up politics because, you know, it's a human being.
And right now, the United Nations says in Pakistan, there are 6 million of them in immediate need of help. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Toronto.
Those numbers would only grow. And by mid-August, the UN Secretary General declared the catastrophe in Pakistan the worst he had ever seen.
I have had a chance to see the tremendous destruction and profound suffering with my own eyes. It is heart-wrenching. The scale and magnitude is difficult to comprehend, beyond imagination.
Ban Ki-moon pleaded with other countries to step up their aid efforts, but as the CBC's Adrian Arsenault reported, even getting limited help to the needy wasn't easy.
The Pakistani army is always in a hurry now. In Punjab, taking dozens of relief flights daily over still flooded land. A swath the size of the United Kingdom looks like this now. A vast muddy lake with small patches of dry land. Even those trying to flee might not know where to go.
The Pakistani army says it is always ready to conduct rescues as well as offering aid, but it's encountering a problem. Many of the flood survivors are too scared to leave their flooding homes. They've already lost their crops. The last thing they want to do is leave the very last possessions. So they're saying no. This is extremely frustrating for the rescuers because they know those people are risking their lives.
Carrying water and milk enough for just a few days, they land at a camp in Jampur. 800 people, barely 100 tents. Many say they were chased by the water, fled to one place only to be flooded out again. Others immediately sought high ground, climbed trees, only to find snakes, cobras had done the same. On a bed in the heat, Razia, who says she broke her back in 3 places when she fell off a roof trying to escape the water.
She's saying she's suffering a lot over here. That's why she needs evacuation.
He says she's had a basic operation, will be evacuated properly to a good hospital soon, but not today. Remarkably, the military say those here are still in better shape than the stubborn stranded.
I requested them, even I placed my hand like this, please come with me, but they don't come. They say, we want to protect our luggage.
So, routinely, they drop them water and food. 10 minutes on the ground, that's it, and they leave. There are more to worry about. Flying out, the army carries pharmacists who are now moving on to other camps.
There are many cases of snake bites and malaria problem there are and diarrhea and skin rashes. Skin problems and digestive problems are mostly seen there.
Do you have the anti-venom for the snake bites?
Actually, ma'am, anti-venom is very costly.
Back on base and medicine is still key. Rescued and ill kids usually end up nearby at Multan's Children's Hospital in cramped, loud wards. Many must be treated outside. This is dehydration, potentially fatal diarrhea. Their mothers with nowhere else to stay will sit here for days, and they too are often ill. While Sakina Bibi talks, her family, lying beside her, seems suddenly overwhelmed. Her sister-in-law actually on the cell phone to her husband. He stayed near the flooded home. He is stuck on an embankment surrounded by water. The men have been left behind and they're worried, Sakina explains. We can't go to them. They can't come to us. So here's how this crisis spirals. Families separated, some getting help, but soon to return to grim temporary shelters where doctors fear they'll just get sick again. Adrian Arsenault, CBC News, Multan, Pakistan.
By September, more than 20 million people had been affected by the floods. And with food, shelter, and medicine all in short supply, taking care of the youngest victims and their mothers became a major priority.
Many women gave their birth while they are traveling. We are giving them the relief, whatever the resources we have.
But more aid was arriving in the stricken areas, and the CBC's Nala Ayed found one Canadian team trying to make a difference.
Sharel Shazado was so sick, his mother worried he wouldn't make it through the night. But a few hours in hospital and he's ready to go home. They were displaced when the rain swept their straw hut away. Since then, 3 of Ayaz Shazado's children have suffered severe vomiting and diarrhea. They helped me a lot here, she says. I know they came from abroad, but I don't know which country. She's never even heard of Canada.
So this is the treatment area.
But it was a tight team of Canadian aid workers who turned a stretch of road into a small field hospital. What they've accomplished in just days speaks to the possibilities here if the will were there.
Going home today.
Patients that we're seeing with nausea, vomiting, diarrhea symptoms, easily cured. So we're trying to do as much as we can to save as many people as we can.
Some of them are literally on death's door. Without that kind of treatment, left alone, those people would die.
But what hospitals can't do alone is stop the spread of disease, not without addressing the root causes. So how clean is this water then?
Very clean. We can drink it ourselves.
At the core of their work is providing access to clean water.
This came right out of our Toronto warehouse.
An hour away, Global Medic treats water in bulk. Each liter of clean water costs less than half a penny.
The stuff that they're drinking now, no wonder we're getting cholera here. No wonder we're getting outbreaks of watery diarrheals, right? This is the solution. These types of systems and getting people clean water, this is the only thing that's going to save this crisis.
The water is shipped to the camps directly. Once there, it quickly draws a crowd. This is the first time we've received clean water, he says. There's more the world and Canada can do to prevent the spread of disease, says Singh.
We don't understand enough about Pakistan. You know, we don't interact with them, we don't play hockey against them, and we have to understand that the people that are affected here, they're not the rich, they're not anti-Western people, and they're the poorest of the poor, and they really, really need help.
They may not know Canada, but they are grateful all the same. Nala Ayed, CBC News, Shikarpur, Pakistan.
By late September, the floodwaters finally began to recede, but vast areas remained submerged. And with fields still flooded and homes, schools, and hospitals destroyed, millions of people still have nowhere to go. The floods are estimated to have caused about $47 billion in damage, a huge sum for a country as poor as Pakistan. And experts continue to warn that unless more is done to help, political instability can only make things worse. And that is News and Review. Don't forget to check out our website at newsandreview.cbclearning.ca. I'm Michael Serapio. Thanks for watching. It's an emotional and politically explosive issue.
Canadians have been very clear. They want us to spend our time and our money focusing on the criminal misuse of firearms and not going after law-abiding duck hunters and farmers.
We've seen a decline in spousal homicides with firearms by 2/3 since this law passed.
On News and Review today, the fate of the long gun registry. Hello, I'm Michael Serapio. It's one of the most divisive debates in recent Canadian history, one that has Canadians on both sides upset and angry. The debate over whether or not to scrap the long gun registry. Since 2003, gun owners in Canada not only must have a license to buy and own weapons, they must also register them so police know where they are. And many gun owners don't like that.
It's basically us taxpayers, us law-abiding citizens that have to pay and have to follow the rules. I don't understand why it's been put in place.
It's a waste of money. I mean, stuff like long guns, you're not going to be seeing too many crimes committed with them. I mean, they're not something that you just walk around in your trench coat with.
Are we going to fix the problem? Yeah!
Canada's Conservatives don't like the registry either and have long talked about scrapping it.
We are still trying to get rid of that registry. We have the NDP, the Liberals, and the Bloc stopping us from even having a vote.
Since 2006, they have been offering an amnesty to owners of rifles and shotguns who have not registered their weapons in the so-called long gun registry. Last year, this Conservative MP, Candace Hopner, introduced a private member's bill to scrap that registry altogether. And the Conservatives started targeting opposition MPs in rural ridings, like the NDP's Charlie Angus.
Call 705-268-6400 and tell Charlie Angus you're counting on him to scrap the long gun registry.
Supporters of the registry complained about the ad campaign.
You have the Conservative Party of Canada running a very American-style targeted media and advocacy campaign in very specific ridings, trying to pick off MPs one at a time.
But the bill's sponsor defended them.
I think it definitely is fair, it's important to democracy, and it's important to ending the long gun registry.
And with the support of some opposition MPs,
I favor a gun control system, but I do not favor a gun control system that makes criminals out of farmers and hunters.
The bill headed for a vote this fall. Canada's police chiefs strongly opposed scrapping the registry. They said it's a useful tool that helps protect police officers and other Canadians, but no group felt stronger about the issue than those who remembered the 14 women shot to death at Montreal's École Polytechnique in 1989, the shocking act that led to the creation of the gun registry. And last December, on the 20th anniversary of that terrible day, they made their views known. The CBC's Lynn Robson has the story.
Since 14 women were murdered in Montreal, December 6th has come to be a day to remember them and all women facing violence. But today, many Montrealers feel that they're losing ground in the struggle to make Canada a safe place for women. White ribbons for victims of violence and an urgency that hasn't diminished with time.
Because it still happens here, women being killed.
The names of the 14 victims are familiar to many here now, etched into the psyche of Montrealers.
Anne-Marie Edward, 21 ans.
Yet in 1989, the idea of a massacre targeting women seemed inconceivable in Canada. Catherine Bergeron lost her sister in that violence. Once a year, she leaves a rose for Geneviève in this park near the